I am Stephen Finley Archer, and this is the Freedom and Democracy Road. If these stories matter, I'll show you how to begin them at the end. Welcome back to the Freedom and Democracy Road. Today we'll talk about what people often misunderstand about revolutions. When we look back at revolutions, we tend to simplify them, to compress them into events. A declaration signed, a battle won, a turning point. History presents them as if everything changed all at once. But that clarity is something we interpret afterwards. It was not experienced that way by the people living through it. For them, there was no clear turning point. There was no sense of standing at the center of history. There was only a feeling that something was changing and that the familiar way forward was becoming harder to follow. The past does not arrive to us as it was lived. It arrives to us as it has been remembered. And in that remembering, we smooth out the uncertainty. We connect events that at the time did not seem connected. We give shape to what once felt unsettled. Those who come later must rely on memories of those who came before. And in that passing of memory, something important is entrusted. Not just what happened, but how it was lived. What is not remembered truthfully has a way of returning. And perhaps more than that, because the purpose of remembering is not only to tell what happened, or even how it was experienced, but to carry something of that experience forward so that others may feel it too. Because it is often what we feel that stays with us, long after the details have faded. Both in America in the 18th century and in Ireland in the 20th, that uncertainty was shared. Independence did not begin with agreement. It began with doubt among the population, with the question of whether change was even survivable. What appears in hindsight as a turning point was not recognized as such at the time. There was no single moment when people know that the path they were on has already changed. Only later did it become clear that something irreversible had taken place. And this is where history is so often misunderstood. We see it as movement from one clear point to another, but for those living through it, it felt like walking a road that no longer led where it once did. Yet even in the midst of chaos, a way remained forward for those with the courage to stay on the road together. Before we finish, in our own time, we can see how much effort is placed on remembering events accurately, on deciding what should be preserved and how it should be told. And even in those efforts, the past is not simply recovered, it is interpreted. And on the road, we are asked to remember with care and to carry forward what we believe to be true. This week, you may notice a moment when your understanding of history differs from others. If you do, take note of it. Offer your interpretation, not to inflame, but to understand. Not to divide, but to clarify. That too is part of the road. If you'd like to continue along the road, you're welcome to subscribe and like this video if it speaks to you. When writing historical fiction, the challenge is not to recreate events. It is to recreate uncertainty. Characters cannot know the ending that we already know. If you'd like to begin that story, you'll find a complimentary personally signed copy of Searchers in the description below. In our next episode, we'll look at freedom and order, not as opposites, but as something that must be held in balance. Thank you for walking a little of the road with me today. Until next time, stay on the road to freedom and democracy, because the path only continues if we walk it together. Thank you.